let's jump into listings. Hi, Tamara. I see you
Hi.
popped in there. So who has done an actual proper listing appointment?
Me.
Me,
Veronica, you have? Allie,
Yeah.
you have?
yes.
Anybody else? Tamara, you must have. Yeah, okay,
Penny.
so perfect. So Veronica and Allie, I've kind of walked you guys through your process. So I know that some of what I'm going to talk about today, I've already talked to you guys about, but there may be something else that you learn along the way. So this is how I operate my business, and this is from 10 years of failing, not getting listings, going into appointments and not feeling prepared, going to training from other agents and picking up little tidbits and tools. Did anybody attend Karen Kaye's training when she did in-office training on listings? Did anyone go to that?
Recently or ever?
Nope, recently.
No, I missed.
Okay. All right, good. So she had a lot of great things to talk about. If you go to the mykwir.com website, that training should be on there. If for any reason it's not, touch base with me and I'll get Kendra to send it over to me. Karen is phenomenal with listings. She had a lot of great insight, great tips. So that's a really good session to watch. I am going to kind of jump in on what my process looks like. I'll be totally transparent with you guys. I don't do a ton of listings. I haven't since I've been here in Ottawa, because I too have been building a business since I've moved here. And that typically starts with working with a lot of buyers and transitioning into listings. Listings were not always something that I was 100% confident and comfortable in. And it's probably only been in the last year that I really feel like I have you know, like a real process and a plan going into them. So everything that I do is still being tweaked. There's still room for improvement on it, but I'm just going to give you some tips on things that I've learned.
Can I sidetrack us for 1 sec?
You certainly can, yeah.
What happened with your listing?
Oh, yeah. So it's coming back on the market. We took it off. I gave my clients all kinds of recommendations on things that they could do based on some of the feedback you guys gave me from the online listing, the feedback from some of the showings, and just things that I felt would help. And they've done a lot of work in a very short amount of time. So yeah, we are restaging, we are reshooting photos, and we're going to put it back on the market.
Nice.
Yeah, and we're gonna drop the price too, because I thought I had it priced well, but something turned in the market, and I don't think anybody's really looking at much over 800,000 in that area. So we're gonna bump down to $799.
Yeah, I think the
You're
Still
market,
holding
gonna still
offers?
take Offers?
Pardon?
You're gonna still take offers?
I'm gonna hold offers. Yeah, I am. So what I've been doing is just watching the market, what's happening, what's selling, what's comparable to us. And I can see that it's not as strong as it was maybe a month ago in that area or a month and a half ago. But in the kind of 10-day period that we were listed, it was dead. And about 5 to 7 days after I took it down, some of the properties that had been up at the same time as us that weren't selling have started to move. So I don't know if that's to do with the lockdown, coming out of lockdown. You know, properties that might have sold for like over $1 million 2 months ago are now going for 900 in that particular area. So we've talked about that, and they're aware that maybe they won't get what they could have a while ago, but that's kind of where we're at right now. So fingers crossed.
it looks like it peaked in March, eh?
Yeah, it really did. So yeah, I mean, I'm hopeful. I look at a few listings that have sold even in the last week, and I know that their home is superior in size and layout and even finishes. There's one that just went for 1.1, and whew, it is ugly. So I'm hopeful, and we'll see what happens. But it's a big expense for me. It was something that I really had to consider. Do I want to take this on? Because I'm restaging it, and I'm reshooting all of my media. that's a big expense to take on if it doesn't sell. And they have a number that they want to get, and they'll probably rent it if they don't get it.
How
So
much, how much did it cost for staging?
Um, so I don't know yet because I haven't completed it. I have a quote for what I want to do, but every property is going to be different.
Okay.
I staged it the first time and I just did the basics, utilizing what they have, bringing in some, you know, maybe minor decor, pictures, bedding, things like that. This time I had them remove pretty much all their furniture, and we're like staging with new items.
It's gonna pay off
I hope so. Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. I think it'll make a difference. So it'll be interesting for everybody to see what it looked like before, what it's going to look like now, and what happens. I've seen staging make a huge difference in the past. So we didn't think we needed to go all in, but we're going to. But yeah, that's that. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Thank you. All right, so let's jump into this. So number one, first thing, when you get that call or you're making a call and you have an opportunity to list a property, give me your thoughts on very first thing that you want to do. Even if it's somebody that I've already told this to, please jump in. Very first thing, someone calls you and says, you know, I'm thinking about listing my property.
Get in
What is
front of
your-
them.
Right, get in front of them.
Yeah.
You want to do a walkthrough of their home. Okay,
Right.
so when I'm on the phone and I'm talking to somebody, I have people all the time that call and say, well, you know, we just want to get an idea of the number. What's my response to that? I can give you a very basic idea and a wide, broad range based on, you know, how many bedrooms your home has, how many bathrooms. But in order for me to take the specific aspects of your home into account to ensure that I'm really pricing it properly and giving you the best opportunity on the market, I need to come in and physically see your home. Okay, you don't have to use those exact words, but something along those lines. I always do my listing appointments in two parts. That first initial walkthrough is for me to start building rapport with that person. I'm building a relationship. We're chatting as we walk through the house. It can be a 10-15 minute appointment. It doesn't have to be excessive. You also don't have to feel like you're fully prepared in that moment, because all you're doing is walking through the house. You're taking notes on everything that you see. The seller's going to talk to you about their home. There's questions that you can ask them. I'm in the process of making a list for you guys because I know you've asked in the past, like, can we have a list of things that we would ask and talk about when we go in? So I'm going to have that to you by the end of the week. But it's really just the basics. What are the things that you see on the MLS system? Go look at other listings. What are the things that they're advertising? What are the features? You want to make a note on everything that you see as you're walking through that home. Ask the sellers about their time in the home. How long have you lived here? When did you buy the house? Little things like that. You can ask things like, you know, how old is the furnace? Is the equipment rented? I ask everything that I would need to put on a listing document in that initial appointment, because they are blown away and impressed when I already have all that information. They don't even remember that we talked about all that in the first appointment. I had a seller say to me recently, we were like doing the photos and getting ready to list, and she said, you haven't even asked us like what appliances are included or anything like that. And I said, yes, I did. And I opened up my book and I said, you are including this, this, and this, but you don't want this included. And she says, I don't even remember us talking about that. And I said, yeah, the first time I came and walked through the house, we talked about it and I made a note. So it's all taken care of. It's like asking those little questions and taking just stress off them in that initial appointment. You're building rapport, you're finding out about the house, you're really getting in there so that you can give a proper value. So that's number one. I always do it in two parts. I personally think the two-part listing appointment is extremely important. Okay, so once I'm in there and I'm talking to them and I've walked through the house and I made my notes, I also like to take photos. So when I go in, I will say, do you mind if I take some photos for my own personal reference? These will not be shown to anyone else. They're not going to be marketed anywhere. It's just so that when I'm working on your market analysis, I can refer back to ensure I don't miss anything. Allie, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so we talked about this when you were going into your appointment, And you told me after the fact that you wanted to go in and you said you were going to take photos. And what was her first response when you said that?
She said it's not gonna go on the internet. I'm no, no, no. It's exactly, I copied you, what
Yeah.
you told me before. So I thought it's gonna be for my own personal reference, just to go, if in case I miss anything, I can look into the photos and know what I'm gonna do in the CMA when I'm comparing your house to other houses.
Exactly. So little things like that are important because it gives people peace of mind. Those are things you guys are going to learn the more that you go in and connect with sellers. Everybody's going to say the same things in certain situations. You go in and start asking to take pictures and they're not, you know, their host is not perfectly ready. They're going to be worried that somebody else is going to see those. So I just let them know in advance. Sometimes I even say it on the phone before I arrive. It's just peace of mind and making them feel comfortable with you and that you know what you're doing. So that is part one. Does anyone have any questions about that or maybe comments? Yeah, Patty?
In this part one, are you having them sign any documents?
No, nothing.
Does it not scare you to walk away without that?
No, because I haven't given them anything yet. I've not given them a price. I've
Yeah,
not,
but you've also taken that much time though to go through their house. You're taking pictures, you're gonna do this. You don't feel like at that point you would want to have something more? No?
so that's an initial appointment and
Okay.
I'm only in there for 10, 20 minutes, depending on
Okay.
how much of a talker they are.
Okay.
And I tell them that, you know, when I'm on the phone, I say the initial appointment is just for me to come walk through the house.
Okay.
If you show up and you're like, I have all this paperwork for you to sign and you haven't even seen their house yet, that's more jarring to them.
Okay.
So they're meeting you, you're walking through, you're building a rapport, you're getting to know them, and you're looking at the house so that you can give a proper valuation. The thing that I do is before I ever step out of that house, I'm setting the time to come back for the next appointment.
Okay.
Okay. So before I leave, I say, okay, so I should have your market analysis ready in 2 days. When I come back, we will go over everything that you need to know. I'll tell you about the selling process, what my role is as your agent. I will go over the market valuation and where I think your home should be priced. And we will, of course, talk about commission. And then I usually make a joke like, because that's what everyone wants to know about. Ha ha ha.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
I have a question. I
Can
don't
I say something
understand-
here?
I'm just going to let Heath finish and then you can pop in.
Yeah,
Ali.
yeah.
I
Go
don't
ahead.
understand, you want to go first, Ali?
No, it's okay. You go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't understand taking the pictures when you're there. How does that help you? So oh, well, they had these types of appliances or, you know what I mean?
Yep. So the pictures are not the photos that you're going to use on MLS, number
No,
one.
I know, but I don't understand how they help you. Like,
So for me, they help me when I'm doing the CMA, right? If I'm doing their market analysis, so you probably do your CMA a little bit different than I do. I make adjustments on my CMA and that's a whole other class. So like if I'm comparing, let's say there's not many comparables in an area and I have to compare a home that has 3.5 bathrooms to a home that only has 2.5. I'm actually making value adjustments for those things.
yeah,
If I'm comparing a home, I'm in a home that has hardwood floors throughout, and the best comparable I have has all carpet. I'm putting a value on the fact that my client has hardwood and this home only had carpet.
got
That's
it.
a
Okay.
whole other thing we could do. So I take pictures for that reason. And I think it's just good to have them as a point of reference when you're working on your CMA.
Okay, so it's easy to forget stuff is the
Yeah.
Yeah, little things,
Okay.
especially if you're busy or if you looked at a few homes. We want you to get to the point where you're going in to do listing appointments all the time. You don't want to get those properties jumbled. I take pictures, I create an album in my phone with the property address and the pictures go right in that album. When I'm working on my CMA, I put them right in front of me and I reference back to them just in case I forgot anything or I missed making a note.
Nice.
So that is the initial process. Patty, you talked about asking if you would have them sign anything. So I wouldn't. You can bring something with you to leave with them. So a pre-listing kit is a phenomenal tool. You can put anything you want in it really. I would encourage you guys to actually even go just look online and Google pre-listing kits. You can Google Keller Williams pre-listing kits. You will actually find some from other agents, from US, Canada. There's PDFs that you can download and look at. Full transparency, when I was creating mine, I went and looked and saw what other people were doing. I used some stuff from some people, I used some stuff from other people, and I put some of my own things in there. So I'm going to show you guys what mine looks like. Now, mine, after 10 years in the business, I had somebody design it and it's printed into a booklet. You do not need that. Prior to me having done that, I just created my own pages on Microsoft Word, put a logo at the top, whether it's your own logo, a Keller Williams logo, make it look professional. I would print them and staple them together, put them in a KW folder, and that's what I would give the client. So you do not need to have something fancy. It's just something to leave with them to kind of get started in the process. So I'm going to pull mine up and show you.
Can I just 2 seconds
Go
show
ahead.
you something?
I would love, yep,
This is my listing presentation, which I have online as well.
love
But
it.
I did this. You just buy these little thingies at
Yep.
Staples and the sleevey things.
Yep,
I had them printed at Staples so that they were like, they're on a little nicer paper so that it looked high quality.
yep,
I have it on a PowerPoint, but then this time this way I can kind of like bring it and flip through it and
love it.
do this kind of idea. So if you don't have your computer or it crashes or whatever, or some of the older clients are a little bit intimidated by having it on a PowerPoint. So this just works better. And I have a little, well, my little thing with all my junk in it. Anyways, this
I
is
love
just,
it.
it's my little, and then at the back, I put my stuff I've done, my
Awesome.
my proper things.
That's
of what
amazing. That's something I
provide.
don't have in mind. That's great to show them, you
So
know,
just,
what you've done.
and this is cheap and easy. Like the whole thing cost me like, I don't know, $20 or something because I got it professionally printed and I bought all the junk, but like, I mean, so it costs you $20 in a binder, you know?
Love it.
So you
And I
don't
love,
leave anything with them?
I don't.
Okay.
I know people do, and I'm not saying, I don't
Well,
want to
no, I was
talk
just curious.
against anything.
no, it's not
I
right,
don't.
wrong, or indifferent. Everybody's going to find something different that works for them. These are just to give you ideas.
I certainly do leave stuff with them, but not my presentation.
So what do you leave, Tamara?
I get a lot of booklets. I don't know if anybody's ever done it, but you go down to the CREA website through Matrix, you can get all kinds of good stuff for free. Listing your house, buying a house, all kinds of good stuff. I put stickers all on it, so it's branded to me. I don't have anything close by that I can show you. I will leave them the CMA that I do. I will print out stuff from Geo Warehouse showing them what the city values their property as.
Yeah.
I have something called Hood Q that I pay for. So if anybody wants anything from Hood Q, just come to me. It's an expensive system. It takes 2 seconds to print it out. You can black out my name and then use it as your own. Like you can just
Awesome.
don't buy it because it's like
Thank you, Tamara.
I'm already paying for it, guys. So like, please,
Tamara-
it takes 10 seconds. I'll give you my login.
Tamara, can I ask you, I don't know exactly what you have access to, but do you know you can buy the Hood Q reports on Geo?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so you can go on to Geo Warehouse and any property, you can purchase one of any different Hood Q reports.
Do you know
I
how
think-
What
much?
is a Hood Q
I think they're
report?
like
Here,
four-
I'll show you what I was gonna say. You don't know what a Hood Q report.
Exactly.
You don't know until you know. It's the coolest
Sounds
thing ever.
exciting. Yeah.
Well, it excites me. I don't know if it's
You
exciting.
show that and I'm gonna pull it up so they can see too.
Can
and
you
I'll
see
share the
this?
screen.
So this was a listing I did, and this is a Hood Q. So you type in the address, and then it pulls all this up: schools, parks,
Wow.
transit,
Oh,
safety,
that's
great.
And I printed it in color and I included it. And then on my listings, I usually have this as an attachment because
Yes.
people will come in and go, well, what are the schools in the area? Da, da, da. So I'm like, here are all the schools in the area. This is a short report. It's a 1 page. You can print out a long report. And they also provide the school ratings on the long report.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
you can
that's very
hand this
cool.
off to the people going, here are the 6 schools in the area. Those are the ratings for each one of them. Have at it. I don't like discussing schools because it's like I'm not an educator and I don't know
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
Mhm.
I look for French Catholic. Not a lot of people do. And I also look for private schools. So that's not everybody's cup of tea. And I can't speak to all the schools in the area. I don't know them all.
Mhm.
This is a great report to like for somebody, for somebody. So that's the program is called Hood Q, HOOD, and then a Q. And then Alexandra said you can get it off Geo.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna show you. I'll share my
Okay,
screen.
so yeah, I bought from Hood Q the program, but if I can get it
Yeah.
from Geo, I might cancel it. Well, you pay on an annual basis, so next year I'll cancel it.
Yeah, so they just implemented this, Tamara. I think it was the end of last year.
Oh, okay.
So
Must
I'm
have
just gonna
missed it.
use this one, guys. Okay, so see now on Geo how this little school thing is here.
Mhm.
Hold on. So okay, so you bring up your property address that you need, and you can scroll through here. I gotta remember where it's at. These are okay. We've got to go up here. Okay, so if I click that little school button, I get into the Hood Q system. Shop now. And it brings me up the property. Use the subject property is what I'm going to click. And then down here, I can choose which type of report I want to buy. And it's $15.
That's expensive.
Is it
So
more than
Hood-
what your membership is?
I think I paid. It's not cheap. Let's say it's like $200 is what I
Oh,
paid for
well,
it
so
for the
depending
year.
on how many of these you want to pull, that probably makes more sense.
And I like so I have unlimited. Like all of you could use into this, and it wouldn't cost me any money. And
Wow.
I can pull. You see how like? Can you go down a little bit, Alexandra, so you can see? So there's the detailed report, and then the Hood Q address report is that one pager I just showed you. So
Yeah.
that's a one page. And then that Hood Q detailed report is several pages. I don't know what that other one is. I just haven't seen it before. Maybe I can.
So this is the one page where it just gives you like basics. You can actually click on all of this through here. But if you're printing it, you can do a one-page report. The multiple page gives you more details about each of these categories.
You don't have
Oh,
to
that's
pay for
very
it
cool.
before you look at it. Like you can just look at it and screenshot it.
No, this is a sample.
Okay.
So this isn't actually for the address that I pulled. They're
Okay.
just showing you what would come up. So yeah, until you pay for it, you can't see the one that you need.
Alice, I just have a quick
Yeah.
question. This is
Yeah.
unrelated, but is there any way to check off a secondary entrance to a property on Matrix?
I'll touch base with you after this on that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a phenomenal tool to utilize. I didn't even know you could have a membership to it, Tamara, so that's a really good tip as well. And like she said, I really like that Tamara has her actual presentation in a binder and online. So you have two options, and technology doesn't always work. So if you show up to a house and your computer's dead or you can't connect to the internet or whatever it is, having that physical copy is a great idea. So I'm going to unshare for a second here. And I want to show you guys my pre-listing kit. So, oh, somebody's coming in here. So my pre-listing kit is the thing that I leave after my first appointment. So my initial walkthrough, I go in, I do everything I just talked about. I book the next appointment, that part is key. And I leave a copy of this. And like I said, it doesn't need to look like mine. Mine used to be a Microsoft Word document that I printed, stapled, and threw in a
Oh,
folder.
you're in business.
So let me just pull it up here. Give me a second. And actually mine needs to be tweaked. There's things that I want to add. There's things that I want to remove. It's a constant work in progress. Let me see here. I gotta find my share screen button, guys. Sorry. All right. So this is what mine looks like. It's just a getting started for sellers. I have a bio about myself in there so they can learn about me. I have the selling process. What are the steps? Everybody can make their own steps. I have a checklist. So the checklist for me is something that I point out before I leave the property, because I want them to have these things ready for my next appointment. That's almost solidifying that they're going to list with me. So copies of the key, contact information for everybody involved, preferred showing schedule, average cost of utilities. Those are things that I put on my listing. A list of fixtures and appliances, whatever that is included is not included. I've already made that list in the property, but I reiterate it. If they have a copy of the survey, property tax bill, any mortgage information, if they already have a lawyer, I leave this with them and I said, here's a list of things for you to get started. And I would love if you had these things ready before our next appointment. Most people have it already when I get there. So I know that if they're giving me a key and they're giving me all this documentation, like I'm pretty good at this point, right? Like I've kind of solidified that they're going to work with me. So I like having the checklist for the sellers. I talk about what I offer. I do photography and staging and whatever. So I put that right in my listing, pre-listing kit. And these are questions that I ask them when I go through the property. When are you selling? When would you like to move? Tell me a little bit about your time. I literally look at this as I walk through and I make notes on it. Okay. And then there's just tips, general tips for sellers in here of things that they can do to make their home more appealing. You can put testimonials in there. There's all kinds of different things that you could do. I leave that with them before I leave. And like I said, it doesn't need to be super professional. It can just be something that you've created, put a logo on it, put a KW logo on it, something to leave with them. That's how I personally like to do it. Everybody's different. You guys have to find what works best for you and your business. Okay, so I go in, I do the initial walkthrough, I leave that with them, and I set my appointment for a time to come back and do the market analysis. On the next appointment, when I'm coming through, I already have a relationship with them. They already know what I'm there to do. I've told them I'm going to go over a presentation with you. We're going to talk about the selling process. We're going to talk about my role as the agent and what it is that I do for you. We're going to talk about the value of your home, and we're going to talk about commission. One thing that I want to make really clear, and I personally think this is extremely important, if they ask you about commission on the phone, in your initial walkthrough, defer, defer, defer. I never talk about commission until I sit down and do my presentation. So, you know, you can make a joke out of it. They're gonna ask, what's your commission? We will talk all about that when I come back and give you the value and show you what it is that I do. We will go over the commission. I never give out the commission. I don't care how many times they ask. I do not give it out. And I've never had anybody say, well, I don't want you to come back if you're not going to tell me. Never, ever have I ever had anyone say that. Okay. So defer. That's the last thing you want to talk about. You need to show your value. Show them what it is that you do and what it is you offer. It's not about the commission. If they went and asked 3 agents, what's your commission? And nobody did any kind of presentation, nobody showed them what they offer, and you said mine's 5%, and another agent said mine's 4%, and another agent said mine's 3%. They're going to pick the agent that offered the 3% because nobody has showed them anything, right? So do not talk about commission until you have an opportunity to sit down and show your value. So when you go ahead, yeah.
Okay, I used exactly what you're saying. What you told me, I used exactly the same, because my client, the first thing was asking me, how much you charge? How much you charge? How much is your commission? So I left it until like the presentation, and I told them, and I had to show them on the report, like how to justify why I'm justifying that commission that I'm using, you know, the commission that I will be charging. Okay. Actually, it's one other thing is I just want to add is I had a client I was talking to and to do the listing, and then he didn't decide like fully. He has a meeting with the DeProprio or Grapevine, one of those guys. Yep. You know, and he said like they charge him flat fee like $4,000. There's an agent, they take photography, they take photos, and all that stuff. And one thing I told him is it's out of the $4,000 you're gonna pay. Okay, there's a fee that's that the agent is gonna charge. Is gonna be like around $1,500 left for him. And I told him I'm gonna quote him exactly what I told him. I said like it's he's gonna negotiate and he's gonna work for you for the $1,500. He's not gonna do more than that.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
I'm just waiting.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Thank you, Ali. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because most agents don't have like a real plan. They go in and they say, this is what the value is, and you know, we'll pay for photography and video. There's more to it than that. And if you show them that, they will see it and they will choose you. So that's a really good example. In terms of going back for your actual appointment, you want to have some kind of presentation prepared. What Tamara has is great. If it's something on paper that you're going through with them, phenomenal. David, you have a great thing that you prepared for your first listing presentation. And guys, I just want to give a shout out to David right now because he just got his very first ever listing and it's $1 million listing.
Woo!
Congrats
Wow.
on that.
Score.
Pretty impressive. I don't even know if he's there right now, but yeah, David created a great presentation. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It just needs to have information, even if it's just something for you to follow a guideline on what you want to talk about. Mine is on a PowerPoint. I'm probably going to steal Tamara's idea now and put something in a binder as well, because I think that's a great idea. And there are some people that just prefer paper. You know, it's whatever works for you. If you can have multiple resources, that's great. So let's talk about the things that you should have in your presentation. So I hear a lot of new agents, especially, talk about the fact that they're inexperienced and they're nervous to go in with that. You have to remember that you're not alone. You have a whole team of people. You have an entire brokerage behind you. Utilize those people in your presentation. Talk about Keller Williams as a company. Talk about the fact that we've been ranked the #1 training organization. Talk about the fact that you are required to take continued education. Those are all things that people want to know and that will give them a sense of comfort in you as an agent. You don't have to say, I've sold 100 homes. Hey, I'm with this organization, and not only are you getting me, but you're also getting Keller Williams, and here's some great things about us as a company. You can utilize me in there. I actually have a productivity coach that walks me through the process, and you don't need to say walks me through the process, but you can say that we have backup support. I have a productivity coach in our office who's been in the real estate industry for 10 years. You can put any of my accolades if you want. Ann Scarf, Wendy Bell, Andrew Willette. Those are all people that you guys have access to, that your clients have access to through you. Okay, so here's our team. This is my team. Okay, utilize those people if you're not feeling 100% confident. Put them in your presentation. Talk about them when you're there. You've got a whole team of backup support with me. It's not just me that you're getting an entire brokerage, and here are some of the key people that you have access to through me. Okay, that's an important one, I think, when you're starting out. Does anybody else have tips that they would like to give on things that you have included in your presentation or you think should be included? I would like to hear them.
I found something on our website.
Yep.
Where it talks about how Keller Williams as a company and how we have 180,000 agents and we're the largest company by agent count. So on the website, there's a lot of good resources. There's also information for sellers, information for buyers. So I used all that. It's exactly what you're talking about.
Love it. Perfect. That's phenomenal. Yeah, you've sent me some stuff too, Heath. That's really great. You have a lot of really great information in those brochures that you've made.
Too much, I think, though.
They're really nice too, by the way. I don't know if you did those yourself, but they're like really well done.
I went on YouTube and I watched some like listing presentation, some videos.
Yep.
And I took some notes, like what I need to include and how to answer, what to get, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it will help too.
Yeah, guys, utilize what's already out there. We're not recreating the wheel, right? is that the saying? I think I said it wrong, but use what other
Reinventing the wheel.
Thank you, reinventing the wheel. Thank you, Tamara. Yeah, go out and look and see what you can find from other agents. There is a wealth of information on the internet. You don't have to use everything somebody else uses, but pick the things that, you know, relate to you and your personality and your business and how you want to operate. So I think definitely talking kind of a little bit about yourself, talking about the brokerage is important, especially if you're newer in the industry. I think it's important to talk about what it is that you do through the process of a listing. So, you know, as agents and listing agents, I believe that our job is not just to go stick a sign on the lawn and throw the house on MLS. There is more that we can do than that. What are those things? Put them in your presentation. Talk about those things. Let me give you an example. Hold on, I'm just kind of trying to draw some inspiration here.
I think it's important for people now to know how we plan on marketing their property.
Thank you. That's exactly where I'm trying to go with that. Thank you, Patty. I think that's really important. Talk about that. It's not just about photography and videography. Tell them where you're putting their home. Where is it being posted? Who is seeing it in those areas? I utilize my military connection in my listing presentation. I talk about the fact that I have access to some marketing opportunities that other agents may not because I'm a military spouse. I talk about the fact that I post the homes in military groups and that I have personal connections with military agents. That doesn't have to be your thing, but that's something that I put in my presentation that I talk about. Where else are you putting the home besides MLS? Are you doing a coming soon campaign? I put that in my listing presentation. Before we even ever hit the market, I'm going to launch a coming soon marketing campaign. That's what I say. And I talk about what it is that I'm doing. You're getting a coming soon sign on the lawn. Here's all the places that we're posting the listing before it's even on MLS. We're generating interest. We're generating leads. I tell them that I create a list of the people that have showed interest based on the coming soon marketing campaign. And then when I get to the actual process of the host being ready for showings, we're following up with those people. We're making calls. We're trying to get them in for showings. I talk about all of those things. What is it that you as an agent are doing through the process to try and help sell their home? I talk about showing time in my listing presentation. Showing time, yes, it's a tool we all have, but I guarantee most agents aren't talking about it in their presentation. It's a great resource for sellers because they can get feedback as soon as it comes through and it's unfiltered. I talk about the importance of that. You know, having unfiltered feedback that comes to them as soon as an agent or a buyer gives the feedback, that they don't have to wait to hear from me. I talk about all of those little tools and systems. If you don't know what to talk about things like that. Showing time, people
Great
love
idea.
it. Yeah, just put that in your presentation. There's so many things you can include in there. Let me see what else. I do talk about, you know, photography and staging and all that kind of stuff. Not everybody is going to be equipped right now to provide the best of the best or to provide everything. I do recommend that you at least pay for professional photos. Please don't be an agent that takes photos on their iPhone and posts it online. It makes you look unprofessional to everybody else in the industry. Your clients aren't going to be happy with it. And when we're not in a crazy seller's market anymore, you are screwed because the property is not selling if we are in a balanced or a buyer's market. So try and put some money aside to invest in the professional photos. That's one thing that I would say you really should spend your money on.
Like $300 or so?
No, way less than that. You can get, see, I always do photo video packages and I think it's about just over 400. But you can do, sorry, my boyfriend just came down and my brother-in-law is taking his real estate exam and he just got his results that he passed. So he just held up a sign that said he passed. So I was giving him a thumbs up. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, I usually do video photo packages and they're about $425. So photos, Tamara, give me a insight.
135 with tax from Flex.
Amazing.
I do the photo and then there's a little sneak peek video package for 195 through Prep. you
Yeah.
know.
All kinds of different packages you can get through different companies at different price points. But I would say at minimum, if you're just doing professional photography, $135 Tamara
Yeah.
said, plus
Yeah, I
tax.
paid 125 plus.
No,
Same
that
here,
was with
yeah.
tax, Alexandra. That's
With tax.
total.
Yeah.
Perfect. Wow.
Same
Like
here.
it's nothing. It's not worth
Yeah.
your time to go and try and figure out how to edit this.
Yes.
How many photos do they give you, Tamara?
So Jess
I don't
at
know. Yeah,
Jess
go.
at Flex is pretty good. I know some of the companies, they say like this package gives you 55 photos. Jess takes the photos for what you need. She goes in the property and she takes as many photos as need to be taken to get the proper angles and to give you some variety.
Yeah.
She doesn't put a limit on it. Now she's not going to send you 100 pictures, but I've never used her and felt like I didn't have a picture that I needed or like I wasn't seeing something properly.
Jess, where? Flex?
Flex Media,
Flex
yeah.
Media.
Flex.
She is hard to book. You've got to book her
Exactly.
like, I don't know, at least a week, 12 days in advance.
And she charges 195 for the video and photo?
No, 135 tax included for just photos.
Yeah.
And then there's all kinds of other packages. So just like a walkthrough video of
Flex.
the property is like $425 with photos.
She's actually got a pretty good website. So if you
Yes.
Google, I think Flex Media, and you go look at her packages, I
Yes.
think it's pretty clear. I can't remember like Alexandra. It all depends on. For me, the last listing I did, it was a townhome in Barhaven.
Yeah.
You
Pretty
know,
straightforward.
that's gonna like, it's gonna sell. It's
Yeah.
not a problem. So I didn't feel the need to spend a lot of money on pictures for it. I just wanted really good pictures. And that's what I did for this one. I have one that's coming up that's going to be, knock on wood, I'm getting it. It's like 1.2. Well, that one I'm going to spend, as
A
much
little
as
more.
I can on pictures.
Yeah.
I have budgeted like around $2,000 for everything to be pictures, everything to be done. So if
Yeah.
it's going to cost me $800 to do pictures and video and everything to make it gorgeous, I'm going to spend it.
You're
It's
going to make that money
depending.
back tenfold.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think that's something you guys need to consider when you're presenting your listing presentation. Are you doing a one size fits all? Or are you doing the same thing for everybody? I don't. I talk about in my presentation, I have all the things that I can do, but based on the host, I talk about certain ones. And in my pre-list kit, I say, based on your home and the needs of your home, we will come up with a combination of one or more of these things.
But
Right.
what about for rentals? If you're only making like, I don't know, $800 on this rental that is half a month's rent, it's like a 1-bedroom rental with like one space. It's basically 3 pictures total. Do you go ahead and take a photographer or do you grab one of your professional cameras at home and get it done?
I would probably, that's a tough one.
Take your own. I always say that you're promoting yourself too. So I say just spend the 135 and get it done.
Yeah.
Because
Becomes
people are
your
going to
calling
judge
card.
you. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
going to judge
Becomes your
you as an
calling card.
agent.
This is what you're going to use to get more listings and more
Yeah.
rentals from other people. And you're going to be like, look what I did, you
Yeah,
know?
I
And this
agree.
other guy's going to use his phone. And it's going to look like he used his phone. And if you're competent, there's some
Yeah.
agents that are very competent and take
Yes.
the professional and I'm incompetent.
Yeah,
I
there's-
do
So I
have a
wouldn't do that.
professional camera. I know my way around it. But I'm obviously not a professional photographer for the editing part. But I can definitely learn for one video because like if this is my first listing and I'm only making $800 minus 30% to the brokerage, I need to pay my fees every month.
yeah, completely
Yeah.
understand. You have to look at it as an investment in your business and an investment in marketing yourself.
Yeah.
I
Business
say even more
expense
so
too.
being your first listing, like I would just go for it. Do it, learn the
Yeah.
first time, do it like
Yeah.
go whole hog a little bit. You're going to make less money, obviously. And I can't tell you what to do. It's your money, obviously.
Yeah.
But
But
if
you're setting the
first
tone
time-
for your listings. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
there's
would also
another
say,
way
I would
you
also,
can-
s-
Oh, sorry. There's another way you can ask the seller listing agent, can you use your pictures? Sometimes they will agree, right? That's what
Yeah,
I did.
if it was a property that was already listed, yeah, you need, if you're ever gonna use another agent's photos, you absolutely need to get permission in writing to do so. But that is a good point. If it was a property that was listed and sold and now you're renting it, yes. I don't think in Veronica's case that's the situation. Veronica, I would also say if it's a what is it, a 1-bedroom condo?
It's 400 square feet. It's
Okay,
literally
so
the tiniest thing.
if you reach out to a photographer, tell them, you know, it's a 1-bedroom condo, you're probably not going to pay $135.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot less than that. So try and negotiate something with them, but they probably have some kind of, you know, minimum number that they would use for anything under, you know, a certain size. So
Okay.
yeah, I would look at that route first.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, that's gonna kind of be up to you guys on what you want to provide. You know, some people do cleaning, staging, photography, videography. Some people just do photography. I would say #1 priority is to have the photography and talk about it in your listing presentation. I don't just talk about the fact that I'm going to hire a photographer. I talk about how important photography is, how important pictures are. I have a whole slide in my presentation that says 97% of buyers buy their home on the internet. They will disqualify themselves from even looking at your home based on the photos online. I have a whole slide that I talk about that. I have a whole slide that I talk about how first impressions are so important and that our first 7 days on the market are crucial in capturing the attention of our largest buyer pool. Talk about things like that. Put that in your presentation. It's going to make you sound extremely knowledgeable. And then you transition into, based on that, I actually hire professional photographers at my expense as part of my marketing plan to come into your home.
So another thing that I've done for my listing that I just won this week is I have a 2-stage marketing plan. I had a pre-listing marketing plan, and a post-listing marketing plan.
Yeah, so we kind of talked about a pre-listing kit before you popped in, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
and I did tell everyone about your listing. I don't know if you were on the call.
Oh no, I was in another meeting.
Okay, we all give you a clap and a congratulations.
Thanks everyone. I appreciate it. Alex I got a lot of help from Alex. But another thing I want to say is there's also other things like 3D tours and drone tours that everyone can do. One of my really good friends, he owns one of the largest 3D tour company in Ottawa. So it's called Point 3D. If anyone wants to add 3D tour as an additional to their listing presentation as an option, feel free to hit me up and I can send you guys some examples.
Awesome. Thank you, David. That's awesome. So just to I want to give you guys some things that you can put in your presentation, because I know some of you are kind of struggling, like, what do I include in there? I talk about the fact that I create packages filled with information for anyone that's interested. So that checklist that I give, and I ask for utility costs and everything, I talk about that in my presentation, that, you know, we want to be the property that has the most information provided to buyers, and we want to have it ready to go for when they're ready to pursue an offer, so that there's no waiting and we can generate a quick sale. So I talk about the fact that I create a package. I talk about having that hood queue report that Tamara mentioned with, you know, schools and recreation and all the information about their area. Those are great things to talk about in your presentation. What else can you do?
Can I throw something in?
Please do. Yep.
I don't know if you've already mentioned it because I stepped away a couple times, but and I went on I shadowed a realtor on his listing presentation.
Yep.
And I think it's good to include charitable stuff that you do, like Red Day for KW.
Absolutely.
And then, like I do at my condo, last year I did a food drive for the Ottawa Food Bank. So I included that.
Awesome.
And then I'm going to do Toys for Tots or whatever it's called this year.
That's awesome, Heath. Yeah, that's a really good point. Anything charitable that
people like do, that, yeah.
Or anything that if there's any kind of money from the proceeds of the sale going toward those things, talk about that. People definitely do like that. That's a really good point. The other thing I think is important to talk about right now is COVID. I don't just not bring it up. I talk about it. I have a whole slide in my presentation that talks about COVID. You know, so sometimes you're going to get sellers that are really nervous and, you know, anxious and feel weird about the whole COVID thing and people coming through their house, and you'll get people that don't care at all. So here's how I spin it depending on which type of person I have. I have a whole slide in my presentation about COVID. I talk about the fact that I set up something in the house that has hand sanitizer and Lysol wipes and masks and all that stuff. I always set that up. I also tell the sellers that they decide who comes in their home. Just because it's for sale doesn't mean it's not still their home. It still has to be respected. And we can put any restrictions on the amount of people and how long that they're in the property. Okay. I talk about that in my presentation. I've had in the past people say, oh, like, we don't care about that. So what I say at that point is, that's great that you don't care about it, but there's lots of buyers out there that do. So if we're showing that we're taking precautions in your home, they're going to feel as absolutely comfortable as they possibly can when they walk through the door. And that's our main goal, is to make sure that every single buyer feels comfortable and at home when they come through their house. If they know that we are taking COVID precautions and that there's not just a million people in there touching everything without masks, they're going to feel better about going in your home. So I talk about COVID. If you want to talk about the market and how COVID has affected the market, you can, if they ask about it. I don't think you need to unless it comes up in conversation. But I would at least bring it up in the precautions that you are taking as an agent in your business for their home. That's something else you can put in there. I talked about showing time a little bit, COVID. Oh, I always talk about how are we receiving offers? I have a whole slide that talks about the different ways we can receive offers. Are we holding offers? Are we allowing offers to come in at any time? Are we holding offers but allowing preemptive offers? Put that in your presentation, talk about it. You are fully preparing them for what's to come in the process. There's going to be no confusion, no surprises, and you're showing them your knowledge.
Alex?
Yep.
When you say, are we holding offers, does that just mean that you've set a specific date and time?
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
that is referred to as holding offers.
Okay.
So I talk about those three options and discuss with them right there. You know, what do you think the best route is for you? They're going to ask your opinion as well. And you're going to give your opinion based on what's happening in the market in their area at the time.
What did you call the three again? Holding offers. What's the other one?
Yeah, so you can hold offers, and I explain exactly what that means. Holding offers is when we pick a specific date and nobody can come in until then. Holding offers, accepting offers at any time. So we put it on the market, and anytime we get an offer, we'll review it. And then the third option is to hold offers and allow preemptive offers. So they can put a holding offer date, but if they get a really great offer, they have the right to review it. So those are kind of your three options. I talk about that in the presentation. Let's see, what else should we talk about? Bear with me here.
There was one other thing I did that was a little bit unconventional. So
Yeah.
my seller client, they were moving to Toronto. They have a 4-bedroom, 2,800 square feet house. So a lot of furniture in there. So one service that I offered is, and I've done this before, so I had some confidence saying it. I was gonna liquidate their whole house for them, selling the furniture. That's a lot of time spent on my end. But when it's your first listing, sometimes you just gotta provide that extra little value for free.
That's great, David. You have experience in that world, so that's phenomenal that you could do that. I wouldn't recommend anybody else doing that doesn't have experience, because that's getting into like a whole other thing. But I think it's great that you offered to do that if you're okay with it and you're comfortable and you know that process.
I think my point was not like about the furniture. It was just about a really custom thing. Like sometimes every seller, like they have a really big pain point. For them, their biggest pain point was the headache of selling the furniture. Once you get past the pain point, if you're the person who can solve their pain point, you can land the offer. Sometimes.
That's phenomenal advice. I love that. Everybody's going to have something that maybe isn't appealing to them about the selling process, and your job is to make it seem easy. I love that, David. And that goes back to kind of those questions that I had in my pre-listing kit. I think I think it's something like, what is the one thing that could happen during this transaction to make you say that everything was phenomenal and great and you felt stress-free or something along those lines. But yeah, I think finding out what that thing is for them and really helping them get past it is such an important part of your presentation. Thank you for that, David. We are over time. So one thing I do want to say, and I might have already mentioned this, but I just want to kind of reiterate it. The order in which you should talk about things is when you go in for that second appointment, you're sitting down, you're going over your listing presentation, you're showing your value. That's the first thing that you're doing. You're going through all the steps of that presentation and showing them your value. Number two, you're talking about your market analysis and the value of their home. The very last thing you're doing is talking about commission. That's the very end. Okay. Yeah, I would challenge all of you to start creating a listing presentation. It's one of those things that I find sometimes people don't have ready until they need it. And then it feels panicked and you know, you're struggling and you don't know what to do and you don't know what to put in it and you don't feel prepared. So start getting your listing presentation together. If you guys can do that now, you're going to be so much further ahead when you're ready for your first or your next listing. Is there anything else that I think you should talk about? I think that's for the most part kind of the main things. Does anyone have any comments, questions?
I just wanted to say one thing, I think,
Yep.
and direct it towards Veronica, that it's a small listing, but it does set the tone. I know my first listing was a trailer. I staged the crap out of it, did professional photos, whole 9 yards, and it was so worth it because I ended up with 8 transactions out of it. So it makes it worth it to, because why not learn on this one? Like, get your photographer, see how they work. And you may end up not making a lot, but you'll gain so much in experience by doing it all the first time. Just a thought.
That's amazing. I love
Yes.
that, Patty.
Thank you. I think I'm going to contact one of my photographer friends. He's more editorial, but he just started in real estate. So maybe I'll see if I can take Alexander's advice and have him take like 3 pictures because that's all the house needs. And for a little bit of a less price.
Yeah. It's I know it's really hard, especially when you're young and you're starting out and you have all these fees that you have to pay and it's scary and terrifying and you don't know how you're going to do it. I was there, Veronica. I was your age when I started. And oh my God, I had a lot of moments of I have to quit and I'm crying now and I hate my life. And but you're doing far better than I was in the beginning. So I totally get it. I promise you it is an investment in your business and in yourself and in the business that you're going to get in the future. But yeah, if you can get it done for free, amazing. If you can get it done for less than $100, I'm sure you'll find a photographer that will be able to do it. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Does anybody have any other comments, questions, notes, anything you might want to add?
I put a link in the chat to the,
I just saw that. Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to work, but I just copied the link. It's in our Google Drive and that's what I'm
Oh, yeah.
using. And I think that'll be the, like you said, it'll be the secondary meeting, but anyway, I find it useful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is great. This is awesome.
Is that
Oh,
it? Did it work?
Yeah,
it worked.
I love the I should have mentioned this because I have this in mind too. The little chart that has like the page is called Get Ready to Sell Price. And it talks about a well-priced home, an underpriced home, an overpriced home. That is a phenomenal image to put in your presentation.
Yeah.
I know we're in like a crazy market right now. It's not going to be like this forever. Coming from where I came from, it's crazy now, but when I was there, it wasn't. Everybody wanted to overprice their home. Using a slide like this is so great to have in there. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in here, guys. Thank you for that, Heath. We should really utilize this.
Yeah, I'm going to use it. And there's also one for buyers, and then there's a buyer checklist. So what I did was like, because Alex, you saw my logo that I created.
Yes.
Well, had created. And
Yep.
then, so I'm using my logo on these, you know, guide to selling, guide to buying, and then the buyer, it's a buyer checklist, I think, really.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Does anybody have anything that they thought we might talk about today that we didn't touch on that I can help you with before we jump off here? No, everybody's okay. All right, so this is just a starting point. I challenge all of you to work on this week before next Wednesday. Work on getting a listing presentation in place. Ignite is going to be starting again, and the find and win with sellers session is awesome. We're going to do some more stuff on actually generating new business. We've been really focused on what you do when you have business, and I think we need to start focusing on generating new business. So some of our upcoming group sessions are going to be a little more tailored to that. So stay tuned. I will send that to you guys. And if anybody has questions or needs help with anything, let me know. If you decide that you have a presentation now that you would like me to review, or you do one up over the course of the next however long and you want me to just take a look at it and give some input, please send it to me. I would be happy to do that. And thank you everybody for jumping in today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for all your input, guys. I really appreciate it. It's nice when it's collaborative.
Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
day.
All right.
Thanks.
See you guys. Have a good day.
Bye.